stealing me booty!
Hear me, Krabs. When I discover your formula for Krabby Patties, I'll run you out of business. I went to college!
And while the last two videos I've made, you would think that I believe skipping college is the greatest decision anyone can make, but that's not entirely true. Today, I'm going to go into two of the major downsides that I experienced having not gone, and things that you should consider if you decide to not go. So one of the primary downsides of not going to college is you are pretty much signing up to lose the social life you had in high school. Now, not going to college does not mean the same thing for everybody. I don't know what your plan is or what you're going to do, but in my experience, I definitely lost the abundant social life that I had in high school. Life basically went from having friends all around you to work, gym, go to sleep, repeat. And like, that was it. I think for the most of the time, all my friends were in college when we were that age. I had like one friend. No, two friends. And we were all busy. So you will be losing out on your social life. And, I do talk about college a lot as if it's this economic decision you make. It's an investment. You want to be thinking about the career, the money you're going to be making, the money you're going to be spending. But your social life is something that is important, and it is something to consider. You won't be around peers your age and in close proximity to them as much. Now, this doesn't mean you can't have a social life, but it will take a lot of intention and effort on your end to put yourself in environments that'll get you the social life you want. You're going to find fewer friends, but the more intentional you are and the harder you work to put yourself in environments with people of like mind and like interest as you, you're going to build quality friendships. So that is definitely something to consider. That's the first major thing, is your social life, which honestly, it's pretty obvious. Number two, which is also pretty obvious, but something that I realize looking back now, is you will be limited to some of the careers that you can have. I know I forget which video it was, I talked about one of the advantages of not going to college being the ability to flex and pivot and move career fields while not being tied down. But sort of on the flip side of that is there are certain careers you're just not going to have access to without a degree. For example, I'm a paramedic student, which does not require an official college degree, but I've been spending a lot of time in the hospital for my clinical hours working on skills and to get my license. And I was hanging out in the OR with some CRNAs, anesthesiologists, and it was kind of cool to see, like, we've all heard of the operating room, but to actually be there firsthand and to kind of see what a day in the life of an anesthesiologist or CRNA is, it was really cool. And I thought, wow, like, this actually seems like a pretty cool job. Now, I'm not going to go to school to be an anesthesiologist, but it's one of those things where you don't know what you want to do until you see it, Certain things might spark your interest by you actually interacting with it. And when you don't go to college, a career like that, or many careers in healthcare, there really is a barrier to entry if you don't have a degree. Now, just because you don't go to college right away doesn't mean you can't enter these careers, but it is something to consider. Every decision comes with an opportunity cost, right? If you don't go to college, you don't incur the student loan debt. But if you don't go, you're either not going to have access to certain careers like healthcare, law, some finance careers, maybe engineering, like certain things. You won't have the debt, but at the same time, you may not have the access to those careers. So that is something to keep in mind, that this is an area where I think it's important that you know your own inclinations and what you like to do. And I think once you have that figured out, you can make that decision from a more, sound state of mind. But that's another thing to consider too. So yeah, those are the two major downsides that are pretty obvious, but something to consider. I don't want to make my videos seem one-sided and think that, I didn't go to college and it's the greatest thing you could ever do, because there are downsides. Every decision you make, there's an opportunity cost. You pick one thing, you're going to sacrifice having the other. And it's something that you should really think about from a non-biased perspective, Remove the pressure from your peers or parents or people in your life for you to do a certain thing, and really focus on what you think is best for you.